Shalom, guys. Welcome back to another episode here at Jashav Ministry with Casa Israel Yarah. Welcome back. This week's Torah portion is Vayetzei. We'll continue the book of Bereshit. We're gonna now go into Jacob. We learned about Abraham, the promise, and then we saw the promise fulfilled through, or begin to be fulfilled through Isaac, which he was the fruit of the promise. And now we're going to start seeing God's promise start to manifest gradually in Jacob, right? And so we will start getting to know a little bit about Jacob, and we will focus on a small part this week, and probably the next couple of Torah portions we'll learn more. But we're going to focus on something very specific that is part of what we've been talking about a little bit, and then I'll let you guys be free. So let's get started. So like I said, this week's Torah portion, Vayetzei, starts in Genesis chapter 28, verses 10 through chapter 32, verse 3. The Haftarah, the prophet's portion, is Hosea chapter 12, verses 13 through chapter 14, verses 10. And the Brit Hadashah, or New Testament portion, is John chapter 1, verse 43 to 51. The biography of Jacob is an independent personality, a patriarch in his own right. And it now begins. Utterly alone and friendless, embarking on a long, perilous journey that is to take him from Beersheba in southern Canaan to Haran in northern Mesopotamia. His character is to be tested and redefined. His personality molded and transformed and experienced. It's typically non-descriptive biblical style. The narrative provides no details about the adventures or trials or tribulations of Jacob in the course of his trek. Only that the bare facts that he sets out and that he arrives at his destination. This follows a pattern of accounts of Abraham's 3-day journey to Moriah and of his service mission to Aram and Haraim. In the present instance, however, the silence of details are broken by the highlighting of a single momentous encounter on the way. An encounter not with man, but with God. The event draws a certain on the cycle of Jacob and Esau, the story, and prepares the reader for a new phase in the life of Jacob. So, this is a picture of the trek trail that Jacob will be following. It has Esau's journey too here, and it has Jacob's sons seek pastures. And so here is after obviously the promise, the blessing that was given to Jacob, stolen, taken, all that drama between his brother. Now is he officially left his father's home to embark on a journey to the land that his descendants and his father Abraham came from, to find refuge in a marriage and a future life. And so Jacob's journey encompasses almost as much territory as those of his grandfather Abraham. Unlike Isaac, who was content to live in the Negev, Jacob roamed from northwest Mesopotamia to Egypt. Jacob and his brother Esau grew up in the Negev in the vicinity of Yarah and Beersheba. The numerous wells and area blunted the effects of the nearby deserts and supplied water for his father's flocks. After tricking Esau out of his birthright, later deceiving Isaac to secure the blessing of the firstborn, Jacob traveled north to his ancestral home, Padan Aram, to find a wife. His route took him to Luz, where in a dream God reaffirmed his covenant made with Abraham and extended it to Jacob. In gratitude, Jacob renamed the place Bethel, house of God, and vowed to return with God's help. Okay? So, it's a lot of reading today. Genesis 28, verse 10 through 16. Before we do this reading, let's do the Torah blessing. Baruch Adonai Haorah, Baruch Adonai Haorah leolam ba'et. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher bahar banu mikol ha'amim, venatan lanu et torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah Blessed Adonai who is blessed. Blessed Adonai who is blessed not forever. Blessed are you, Adonai, our God, sovereign of the universe, who has chosen us from among the peoples and given us the Torah. Blessed are you, Adonai, who gives the Torah. Amen. So, Jacob left Beersheba and set out for Haran. When he reached a certain place, he stopped for the night because the sun had set. Taking one of the stones there, he put it under his head and lay down to sleep. He had a dream in which he saw a stairway resting on earth, with its top reaching the heavens, and the angels of God were ascending and descending on the stairs. There above it stood the Lord, he said. I am the Lord, the God of your father Abraham and the God of Isaac. I will give you your descendants to the land in which you are lying. Your descendants will be like the dust of the earth, and you will spread out from the west and to the east, to the north and to the south. All peoples on the earth will be blessed through you and your offsprings. I am with you, and I will watch over you wherever you go, and I will bring you back to this land, and I will not leave you until I have done what I have promised you. When Jacob awoke from his sleep, he thought, surely the Lord is in this place, and I was unaware of it. While Jacob sleeps unsuspectedly in this place, he receives a dream revelation. Superficially, the episode recalls a phenomenon of incubation, right? It's a customary throughout the ancient world, both Near Eastern and classical, for a devotee to sleep in the sacred precinct of a temple in order to induce the deity to reveal its will. However, the present narrative emphatically disassociates Jacob's experience from this pagan practice by stressing the wholly unplanned nature of his stopover. This complete anonymity of the place and the total unexpectedness of the theophany. So, obviously, the incubation phenomenon is tied to the ritual of them in ancient times praying, seeking an oracle or an answer from the gods. So they will make an offering. They will sleep on the temple and expect that answer. And we see something similar with Balaam. And so now, obviously, the situation with Jacob is very different because Jacob is experiencing something very interesting, very different than that, of course. But he's experiencing something very similar to his father Abraham, right? And in the case, he is called to leave everything he has because he has an inheritance. But because of the situation that was created, whether we're gonna talk about deceiving or stealing and all that, which is not the focus for this Torah portion, but at the end of the day, the result is that he is on the run from his brother, and he is by himself, right? And so he is seeking refuge, and there's a lot of worries because he is trying to find the way by himself because he doesn't have his mother or his father, and now he is the firstborn, but he does not live as the firstborn because of his abrupt exit from his land. And so the way it's described here is that there's a phenomenon in which he lays his head down, and then God in a dream reveals himself to him, right? And he reveals himself to him as the God of the promise given to his father Abraham and Isaac, which is interesting because it's very specific, right? It gives us a glimpse of the knowledge that Jacob has that is passed down, that when God reveals himself to him, he reveals himself with a specific description that embodies God's word. Okay? And so here Jacob is comforted because you have to think about it. Everything that has happened to one extent is due to the fact that Jacob followed his mother's instructions, and everything that is happening to him is based on the fact that one, Esau despised his birthright when the lentils came in the picture, and because his mother obviously told them, do this and let that curse fall on me. And so, to an extent, he's been in a very chaotic situation in which he has to accept the responsibilities that may or may not have been his, but now they are, and he has to now embrace this in the process of fleeing to a land that he doesn't know, to family member that he probably has heard of but has never met, with a lot of power and responsibility when it comes to the firstborn, but you cannot enact on it, or you can't enact on it because obviously you're not in the place to do so. And so it can be very stressful. And so you can imagine maybe Jacob is in stress, doubt, fear, right? Into the unknown. And he gets to this place and bam, dream, and God is giving him a direct message, okay? So it says, he was afraid and said, how awesome is this place? This is none other than the house of God. This is the gate of heaven. Early the next morning, Jacob took the stone that he had placed under his head and set up as a pillar and poured oil on top of it. And he called that place Bethel, though the city used to be called Luz. All right. Then Jacob made a vow, saying, if God will be with me and will watch over me on this journey I'm taking, and will give me food to eat and clothes to wear, so that I return safely to my father's household, then the Lord will be my God. And this stone that I have set up as a pillar will be God's house. And all that you give me, I will give you a tenth. In the ancient world, cult symbols such as the pillar set up here are abundantly observable. For example, Abner has documented independent sites that featuring standing stones in the Negev and eastern Sinai alone. An additional 36 have been identified in Iron Age Israel. Right, very interesting. These standing stones could at times be deified, considered to contain the essence of the deity, probably the function of the two found in the vicinity of the Iron Age temple on earth at the Israelite Ararat. Others were believed to represent ancestral spirits, whereas others could simply stand as memorials of treaties or special events. In early Israelite history, such stones were acceptable, but as time progressed and they were more inclined to serve the same function as images of worship, they were rejected along with the idea that the deity can inherit a physical object. This explains why some pillars are innocent enough and legitimate, while others represent apostasy. Most standing stones were unhewn, though some had minimal adornments, and a few had intricate reliefs. The stele of Baal from Ugarit. In these contexts, the standing stones may well be intended to mark where the presence of God is manifested in Jacob's vision. Jacob has slept in what is, in effect, the antechamber of a temple, and has a stairway leading to the gate of the Lord's presence. He has set up a standing stone either to mark the Holy of Holies at the top of the stairway or the place where Yahweh stood. In an Aramaic treaty text found in Sapphire from the 8th century BC, when the gods called to witness the agreement, the stone pillars on which the treaty is engraved, it is inscribed as the house of God. Alternatively, it could function as a commemorating the covenant agreement in Jacob's response as a vow. The promise that God gave Abraham is solidified in many ways through the covenant of pieces, through the offering of Isaac, and so God reveals Himself to Abraham, and Abraham also does this. Right? He lifts a stone also in Bethel. He lifts a stone in each place where God is manifested to him. And it symbolizes not only the place where God revealed Himself, but also it symbolizes the place where God gave His word to that patriarch. And so here, Jacob does set up the stone to an extent engrave the place where God revealed Himself to him, but also to mark the place where God spoke to him, and not only revealed Himself to him, but gave him the words of the promise, and gave him the encouragement and the strength to move forward, because in all this uncertainty, now Jacob has a revelation from God. directly, saying, I am with you, and you are the child of the promise now, right? You're the one that carries this promise now, and I will be with you, right? And so Jacob is given the responsibility of hold what is given and carry it with him, and it's going to be a lot because he has to learn, and you will see that he will be deceived. He will work really hard multiple times for what he desires, and sometimes he doesn't get it. But it's his faithfulness that, and his persistence that ultimately not only gives him maturity and strength, but also earns him his respect and wisdom to survive. But above all, it's his faith, right? Because he is in this walk because he is being protected and has given a promise by God that God will be with him because he is the God of his father Abraham, Isaac, right? And based on that word is that Jacob continues his walk and his purpose. And so we're going to go into the Brit Hadashah real quick portion, and I will let you guys be free. Okay, so John chapter 1 verse 43 says, the next day he proposed to go into Galilee. He found Philip, and Jesus said to him, follow me. Now Philip was from Bethsaida, in the city of Andrew and Peter. Philip found Nathanael and said to him, we have found him of whom Moses in the law also and the prophets wrote, Jesus of Nazareth, the son of Joseph. Nathanael said to him, can any good thing come from Nazareth? Philip said to him, come and see. Jesus saw Nathanael coming to him and said to him, behold, an Israelite indeed, in whom there is no deceit. Nathanael said to him, how do you know me? Jesus answered to him, before Philip called you, when you were under the fig tree, I saw you. Nathanael answered him, Rabbi, you are the Son of God. You are the King of Israel. And Yeshua answered, because I have said to you that I saw you under the fig tree, do you believe? You will see greater things than this. And he said, truly I say to you, you will see the heavens open and the angels of God ascending and descending on the Son of God. And so it's very interesting that this part is revealed or is expressed here, right? Because it embodies a couple of things, right? It embodies a revelation to Nathanael in his unbelief. But the evidence of belief is tied to the revelation. And Yeshua is saying, because I revealed something unknown to you, you believe. Because I told you that I saw you under the fig tree. But there's bigger things that will happen. And he says, you will see the heavens open, and the angels of God ascending and descending on the Son of Man. And angels are described in the dream and described here, right? And the function of angels, above all things, is to ascend and descend with a message and a word of God, meaning what is God's purpose and meaning and will for his people and humanity, right? And so here Yeshua says that the angels, the messengers, will be ascending and descending on the Son of Man, right? So in the vision, right, in the dream, there is a stairway where the messengers are going up and down, and at the top of the stairs is God, right? In the dream, right? And so Yeshua is saying, "I'm the stairs," which is interesting, right? Instead of saying, "Oh, I'm God," he says, "You will see the messengers of God ascending and descending on the Son of Man," meaning on me. I'm the stair. I'm the way to the Father. And the moment that Yeshua reveals that to Nathan, he's saying, "Follow me. Become a messenger of God. Because you will receive from God and you will descend with the same message." And the interesting is that in the Bible, the messengers are not given a specific description. They're just messengers, but they carry the same message from God. And Jacob is called to carry the same message. And he's given the promise. And that brings him comfort. And his prayer is, if God gives me what is necessary and sustains me, he will be my God. And God says, I will. And Yeshua says, we will see that happen. Heavens open and messengers coming up and going down, delivering God's message. And so it is interesting that Yeshua uses this to let us know that bigger things are happening and will happen. And he is the way to the Father. So we're going to keep going in this journey together. It's very simple, I think. If it didn't make sense, rewatch quick. And if it makes sense, thank you. Like I always say, like, subscribe. I don't know anything. I just know what I know. And like I always say, I thank you for listening. So have a wonderful week. Shavua Tov and Shabbat Shalom. Thank you.